Well, I'm very excited about this new bundle, more for you all than for myself, but I am kind of excited for the people that will eventually receive these. I personally don't use or carry a purse or a clutch, but I know a lot of you love them. They're great ways to give a gift to one of your best girlfriends or a daughter or even a child, whoever, and after looking at these prototypes, they're nice and sturdy, very easy to assemble, and I know you guys are gonna love them. So let's take a look at the first one here. This is our evening bag, our silver evening bag. And well, it's really not that bad. I kind of started laying some things out, and we're gonna, again, start by doing some really simple things just to kind of get into a rhythm and kind of get our feet wet with the glue bottle, and then we'll work on the assembly, but these are pretty straightforward. So in front of me here, I've got these pieces here, and what we're gonna do is, well, I'm just gonna start gluing. So we're gonna take this piece that kind of looks like a pill and glue this white piece right onto the top of it, okay? And the reason we have this little white piece under there is that if you don't have pearls and if you don't want to glue a bunch of pearls onto the top of this, I'm going to, because it's gonna look great, but it gives you kind of the illusion of having pearls. So we're gonna glue that right onto the top here, get it nice and centered. I'm gonna lift this up and just kind of use my fingers here to help guide this into place. Okay, now I'm using black cardstock here, and sometimes with black cardstock, this glue, if you got it squirting out, will show through more, so be careful while you're gluing if you are using black, not to get it all over the place. Okay, so we've got that, and we're gonna put this one on next. Now one of these, let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing here. Yeah, one of these has a series of little score marks here, and that's to help with the alignment of the, the top of it. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which one you do and which one you put where until we actually go to assemble the rest of this towards the end when the actual main structure is in place. So now we do have a series of holes here, so you're gonna wanna try to be careful and not get glue too close to the holes. We don't want it spilling out. Now in my case, it's going to be forgiving because I am going to put actual pearls all the way around this. So even if I do get a little bit of glue that squirts out, you won't see it. But if you are not using pearls like I will be, then you probably need to be a little more careful here. But the idea with this piece here is just to get it aligned and nice and flush with the white layer below it. Okay, make sure you get it nice and centered. Very simple, just like that. Okay, so we're just kind of creating the face of, well, the front and back of our purse here, or clutch. Okay, and then we're going to take this piece and we're going to center this right in the center. Okay, so get your glue on here. And then all we're going to do with the other side is essentially the same thing. I know a lot of you are going to love these. I'm sure my mom is going to love these. And again, they're pretty easy to put together. And I haven't crafted in a few days, so I'm a little slow right now. Just getting my feet wet. Just get that nice and centered. There you go. There's that glue shooting out onto the black. And I've tried different glues in the past. They all seem to, when they're, especially on black, they all got that little sheen to them. And there's nothing you can do about that. It's going to look great. Just remember, we're going after the overall end result and trying not to freak out when it comes to all the little details. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing with this side here. You're going to glue the white piece down. You're going to glue this piece down, and then we're going to pop this in the center. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Let's get these two pieces ready to go, and then we'll start on the next section here. Now, one thing I do want to mention with a piece like this, if you do happen to get a little too much glue in some areas, I do recommend that you just kind of, just dab it and just kind of smooth it out with your finger so that you don't get it all over the place. And then keep a little wet towel, or in my case, a little wet sponge somewhere nearby. I have mine under the table. And try to keep your fingers nice and clean. So otherwise, sometimes when you get a lot of glue on your fingers and when you start gluing other things down, it might be hard to get your finger off there, and then sometimes it leaves a little dirty residue, and try to avoid that if possible. All right, so we're putting the next section on again. Again, I'm not doing anything different here. Same thing as the other side. Just want to make sure that it looks good on both sides. Okay, and I can see there I've got a little bit of glue popping through where those little holes are, and that's okay. Again, I'm going to jazz this up with some pearls at the end here, so that'll hide nicely. And you don't really see that little sheen on white as much as you do on black, so I don't have to worry about it too much. Just do your best. Okay, so there's that, and again, we've got the little piece in the center. Get your glue on there. Just like that. And a little extra excess glue there. Let's get that nice and centered. Make sure there's a nice, even, in my case, black border going all the way around in between this piece and the perimeter. And there we go. And it's slightly off actually, but I think it's a little too late now. It'll still look good. Okay, so these two pieces are done. We got our feet wet here a little bit. And what we can do next is we can just kind of piece together our little handle here. Okay, this is going to go quick. All right, so with our handle, we've got two pieces that look the same. There are little tabs down here at the bottom. We want to just kind of fold those. These are going to be used to kind of mount or anchor the actual handle to the top. So they're going to be sticking out like that. We don't need to worry about doing anything with those tabs just yet, but we want to put glue on the inside of one of these sections. Make sure you get good coverage all the way through. And then we're going to kind of just glue these back to back so that the glue is kind of in the middle, like mayonnaise on a sandwich. Okay, make sure that it's nice and lined up all the way around. There we go, and you can kind of put that down flat on your table and just give that a push. All right, and then we've got this layer here. It looks a little strange because it has almost like this little bladed area here. It's almost like a little knife, but that is by design, and that is where this white piece is going to go, and that's just kind of to help you with alignment. Okay, but we're going to put glue on the back of this, keep it nice and centered when we apply it to the black piece here. Kind of go easy on the glue if you're using black so that it doesn't shoot out and look unsightly. And I got a little too much there. It is very dry here in Chicago right now. The temperature's just dipped majorly, and I feel like it's just making the glue dry a lot faster, which could be a good or bad thing. Okay, so I'm kind of staring at the little center scallop little area there, getting that lined up, and then these little blades or these little knives that I mentioned should be nice and flush with the side, and then the rest of this should just kind of fall into place. Just try to make sure that you've got a nice even border going all the way around, just like that. Okay, so that's how that should look. It's pretty good. And now we're going to put our little white piece down, and it's going to go right here, and you can see the ends of this are gonna go right where that little knife thing is, that little sharp point. Okay, so it's gonna look just like that. And again, that little white section is to kind of look like little pearls. Okay, so let's get that on there. And I think this paper, this foil paper, I believe it's DCWV. I'll have to double check that. Okay, so that's gonna go right there. And then we've got in this case, a silver overlay that's gonna go directly on top of that, just like we did on the front and the back of the purse. Okay, so get your glue on there. Get that nice, and it should just sit right on top of that white piece. Perfectly like that. Okay. Now one thing with foil is sometimes if you get too much glue on there, it almost kind of makes it look dirty. You could take a damp rag, very, not damp, lightly damp, and you can always clean that off the foil. Don't soak it though. You don't want to get too much on there. All right, so we're just doing the other side now. And get that on there. I'm just going to kind of hit that with my finger so it doesn't come oozing out. Okay, and just like we did before, I'm kind of focusing my gaze on the center here, making sure that that is nice and symmetrical, and then kind of working my way clockwise or kind of counterclockwise with my eyes, and then making sure that everything else is nice and centered. Just like that. Okay, just give that a press. Nice thick handle once we add up all the layers here. Okay. There we go. I think one side looks a little bit better than the other side. That'll probably be my forward facing side. All right, and then again, we're gonna put this piece on and finish it off with our silver piece. And that will be our handle. Let's just leave a few more things here, and before you know it, we'll be assembling the actual structure itself and kind of piecing everything else together. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And let's get our last little silver piece on here. So these will definitely fit a gift card, a necklace, some jewelry, a lot of little things. Perfect little favor box. So do with it what you will, but definitely share what you do with it. I'd love to hear how you use these files. Okay, all right, so there's our handle. And again, you can see these little tabs are gonna stick out. We're gonna put glue on them. That's gonna help it mount to the top. So we're actually very sturdy. All right, so we've got that. Now this piece here, to kind of keep it flat. It might help to put these underneath your work area, your little mat, just to kind of flatten them out. You could do the same with the handle. We'll get that out when we're ready to go. Okay, so we may as well do this too. We've got some really strong magnets. You can see how strong they are. And it's pretty good, but they're almost too strong. So what we did was we included some little circles. Depending on which magnets you use, you'll want to resize these. And this kind of covers them up, makes it look nicer, but also makes it easier to pull these off. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little dot of hot glue on this, and then put one of my black pieces on here and just kind of squish it down, and that should hold it. Okay, and then I'm gonna throw another layer of just regular glue and put that second layer on top of it. So it's 2 layers thick on each side of the magnet, and we'll glue these together at the end. Okay, so I've got 2 layers of paper on each magnet. There's gonna be one on the little flap and then one on the actual structure. And I'm doing it backwards this time. I'm just gluing these 2 pieces together first. Doesn't matter which order you do it in, obviously. And then we'll throw just a little dot of glue. I might be off camera, and I apologize if I am. I am. And then we'll just pop that right on while it's still nice and hot, flatten it out, and that'll stick to it nicely. Okay. So there's our little magnet to kind of keep it closed, and bam. And it does make it a lot easier to pull it off. You can actually almost, slide it off if you need to. All right, so we'll put that off to the side. Those are pretty much ready to go. And let's just work on the little flap here. What is that? That is for that. That is gonna go on the flap as well. Okay. All right, so here is the main flap, okay? And I've already kind of folded it, started on the scoring and such. And what we're gonna do is, we've got this piece here. That's gonna get glued down like this. Okay, so our little decorative piece here, that's gonna get glued right on top. And of course, you can see the little cutouts for where the handles are gonna go. You wanna make sure that you lay that on accurately so it doesn't obstruct the cutouts on the black piece here. So I'm actually just gonna put glue on this section here. I'm gonna do one section at a time. So we'll get that in place, and we can put our handle on. I'm gonna actually tuck this under so I don't accidentally get glue on any of the pieces here that I don't need to. And get that nice and centered. Again, just make sure you're not obstructing the little cutout, and then you can put that down flat for a moment. Help get that nice and aligned, and then try not to bend any of this stuff too much. I don't want to weaken any of the sections here. Okay, so that looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this section here. Just like that. Try to get it out to the very edge if you can. Just dab that a tad. And try to keep this at a 90-degree angle, so you can actually just use your table to press that down to get it to bind. Okay, so that's what we want it to look like. Get that excess out of there. Okay, perfect. Just like that, okay? So now, what we can go ahead and do is, there's gonna be one little section here on the back. It's this piece here, and we're gonna try to get that as flush as we can up to the piece that's on the top, just like that. We're gonna glue that like that, just to kind of, make it look continuous. So let's get our glue on the back of this piece. Just a little bit. It's a really small piece, doesn't need that large of a workload. Okay, and line that up nicely. Try to get it as even as you can. It's okay if there's a little bit of black showing through. It's not the end of the world. And we'll put that down on our surface and give it a press. Okay, so that's what that should look like right there. All right, so that's that. And now, well, we can get this piece on next. Okay, so just like with the rest of the bag here, we've got a white piece that's gonna go on first, right? And you can see how that's gonna look. Okay, and that white section there should match up perfectly with this little pattern section, like a little puzzle piece. Everything else should sit nicely. Okay, and then this section here, this is a perfect shadow for this little, almost looks like a Christmas light as far as the shape. Okay, so let's get our glue onto, let's just do this side first, the face, I guess we'll call it. Get your glue on there, and then I would start by lining up the little Christmas light section, making sure that that fits into that little puzzle piece area from that panel, and then get the rest of it in place. Make any little slight adjustments that you may need to. Okay, and then put that down on your table. Just give it a push. And that looks good. Okay, now we can glue this little top strip down on each side. Just a little bit of glue. I'm starting to really get a feel for my glue bottle now. This is why I kind of like to work up to it. And there are a little series of score marks on either side to help you with the alignment of this piece as well. I think it's pretty self-explanatory because you've got a straight edge here, so but can never have too much information, I don't think. Okay, there we go. Just going to kind of dab the very end of that to get the glue right out to the very edge. And there we go. Perfect. All right, so there's that. And then again, of course, we're going to finish it off with the little silver piece here. So we'll do the same thing we just did. Get the little silver part on there. And let's just do the face of it first, so we're not stretching ourselves too thin, trying to get too much done all at once and then having to reapply glue. Okay, so I'm matching up the little Christmas ornament or Christmas light bulb portion first, and then everything else should just kind of fall into place. There we go. Perfect. So yes, I'm going to be putting a lot of pearls on this, but it's really gonna make it pop, and that's what we want. Okay, I'm just going to put that flat, give it a good press. Okay, and again, now we can finish off these little strips here. Get our glue on there. They should line up nicely with the white shadow piece. There we go. Again, you can use your table if you want. Beautiful. And the last one. There we go. Dab the end there. And just lay that right on top nicely. Now when you use your table, make sure that the glue is tacky enough to where when you put it down and you press, it's not too slippery where it'll slide and kind of go out of place. We don't want that. Okay, so there's our top is almost done. We've got one more little piece here, which involves this white piece. And we're going to match that up with the white sections on the top. And then, of course, you want it to align nicely with the little tip here. So let's get our glue on this piece here. Okay, let me flatten this out a little bit. Make it easier to work with. Okay, get it nice and centered, nice and lined up. And there we go. That looks good. Now we can press that down. That looks good. This is the back, this is the front here. And then finally, again, we've got the little silver piece that's going to overlay on top of the white piece. And we can pop our handle in place. And then all that's left to do is put together the actual structure, which you'll hopefully find surprisingly easy to do based on the engineering and the method that we use to put it together for you. Okay, there we go. Beautiful little handle, or lid, I should say, a little top. Looks nice, great paper. Okay, so we've got this piece. This is going to be used to hide the little tabs of the handle. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do this. We have this little piece here for the front. Okay, and that is going to look like this. We've got this piece. We're going to glue that right to the top, and then we've got another little piece for the bottom. So get your glue on here and get it nice and centered. Should have a nice even border going all the way around this. And there's actually a series of little score marks on here to help you with the placement of this piece as well. Okay, so definitely use that to your advantage. And get your next little piece here. And we're going to glue that right to the bottom. There's a little notch there to help you with that placement. Make sure it's nice and centered, nice and symmetrical. Okay, and then this is going to get glued onto the silver part there. So get your glue on there. I'm just going to dab that. It's always, when it's tackier and thinner, it definitely seems to hold better. And just get that nice and centered, just like that. Now we're gluing cardstock onto foil, so it's always going to take a little extra time to set, so be patient with that. There we go, look at that. Okay, so that looks great. Now let's grab our handle. And the way this is going to work is you're going to slide the two tabs through the handle. Okay, and then we're going to take and we're going to pull the tabs away. So what you can do is just put a dot of glue here and here on either side. And then we're going to take and just kind of spread those tabs out and glue them to the underside here, like so. And like that. Okay, here we go. And then finally, to cover that up, we've got this piece, and that's going to make it look nice and seamless and clean. So get your glue onto this piece. Try to get it out to the edges, like that, and just pop that right into the center there. A very sturdy little piece here. Okay. There we go. I know you guys are gonna love these. I already tell that these are gonna be a hit. So, well, we're definitely more than halfway there. All right, there's our top. And let's get these out. We'll be using these shortly here. They seem to be nice and flat. Okay. And now it's time for the main assembly here. All right, it is now time to begin putting together the main bones of our little evening bag. And I'm just gonna take and fold everything at the score marks here. And the way that we did this, I kind of did it so that it's a little bit easier and just more, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent. Okay, so I've got my texture side out here. I'm gonna fold this too, just to kind of get it done so that it's easier later on. So you can see what it's gonna look like, and then this is the side piece that's gonna create the little curve. I would say maybe train this to kind of give it that curve, but I don't think it's necessary because it's not really that large of a piece. I think we'll be fine. So I think the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take and we're going to glue this part here to the bottom. We're gonna pop that over like that. So let's get our glue on this tab here, and then make sure that you work that glue right out to the very edge so it's nice and seamless. Okay. And just kind of pop that in, make sure it's nice and centered there, nice and lined up. And just press that down like so. Okay, and then what we're gonna do, these tabs here, hold on a second. Gotta get these tabs on the other side like that. They're gonna go onto the face here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue them around like that, okay? So it's pretty straightforward. Just make sure your tabs are out. Let me fold this in, there we go. Okay, all right, so pretty straightforward, as I was saying. What we're gonna do is just put a little dot on a few of these tabs. I'm gonna do maybe just 3 at a time just to get started here. And let me move this out. I'm going to use my surface, use my table here to kind of wrap it around and pushing down as I'm pushing in from the outside here, and just getting these little tabs down. Just like that. Let's take a look here. You can see those 3 tabs are now in place. And I'm going to flap these down. And let me clean off the tip of this thing. I don't want it getting all crazy here. Okay, so you can see the tabs there. Just going to do little dots here. Just 3 little dots. We'll do the next 3. So I'm going to tuck those underneath. And I'm pushing in from the outside here with my left hand. And I'm pushing down here. I'm just following the natural curve of that piece there. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. There we go. The next 3 are in. So just put that down on your table. You can see the remaining tabs here. And let's just do the next 3. You could do more if you want. I'm just trying to be kind of cautious here so I don't mess it up. And just push that up against the little piece that's on the table right now. And as you're pushing in, push down. Make sure that it's hugging that piece there nicely. There we go. And that just leaves 2 more little tabs here. 1, 2. Tuck that under. And press down. Make sure it's nice and aligned there. Let's see how that looks. That looks good. Perfect. Yep. I didn't hold that down long enough. So be patient. Okay, let's see if that's stuck. There we go. Okay, so there you go. You can see how all the tabs are now glued to the face here. And again, it's kind of weird, but we're just going to pop that right on top, and it's going to cover it up nicely. So it just makes it a lot easier to assemble this way, I think. All right, so next we're just going to do the other side. Okay. And this black is really kind of absorbing the light and making it hard to see here, but we'll be fine. All right, so get your glue on this tab here. I'm going to spread that right out to the very edge. Okay, get it nice and centered there in the center. Make sure your tabs are on the outside, like that. Just tuck it right in. Make sure it's lined up. Hopefully my head's not in the way. It might be a little bit. And just press that down, just like that. Let's take a look. That looks good. Okay, and as you can see, we're just going to do the same thing on this side with these tabs here. Let's give that a second to set before we move on here. Okay. All right, so I think the best way to do this probably be like this. You can see the tabs there. Again, I'm just going to do 1 little dot of glue on each little tab. No need to do more than that. And it's okay if it kind of squirts out, because we've got that piece that we've already put together that's going to cover it up, so don't worry about it too much. So I'm pushing down from the inside as I have this piece up against the wall, I'll call it, or the face or the back of the bag. And I actually did like 5 or 6 this time, which you should be able to get away with. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. Okay, so you can see there how the tabs are on there nicely. All right, let's put this back on our surface here, and I'm just going to finish it up. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots of glue on the 5 little tabs there. You can see. I'm going to tuck those underneath our project like this. Just make sure it's nice and taut. And it's nice and conforming to the round corner there, the round edge of the bag. And just press that down, make sure it's on there nicely, and there you have it. Okay. And again, I've got a little bit of glue that shot out, but that's okay. That's totally fine. And then this is going to be the top here. Now, all that's left to do, you can flip these tabs up so it's easier to put this thing in. Pop that in, and then we're just going to glue these tabs to the face of this side. that's going to be nice and easy as well. Okay, so there we go, and we'll be able to get our hand in there, which is nice. Okay, so let's just start with, you should be able to see the tabs there, yep. And I'm just going to do, I'll show you here in a second. I'm going to do 5, so you can see putting the tabs on there. And from this perspective, you can see what's happening here. They're going to get glued down like that onto the face of this part. But I'm going to put this down on my surface. And make sure you tuck those tabs in. Let me get my hand in there. And pressing down from the inside while I'm pushing this wall up against that piece to conform it to the shape. And it should be, there we go. It's pretty straightforward. All right, so that just leaves 5 more little tabs here. I'll show you here in a second. I know it's kind of, this thing is blocking and absorbing the light at the same time. But there you can see the 5 remaining tabs. They're going to go onto the surface of this thing, like so. Let's just tuck them under, get your hand in there, and then just push from the outside while you push down from the inside. And then just kind of focus a little bit more love here right at the corner where that last tab is. Okay, give that a second to set. And there we go. Okay, and that just leaves this side here. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll do 5 tabs here. Fold them over, aka tuck them under. Okay, get your hand in there, push from the outside to help that piece conform to the roundness of that shape, and then push down with your finger on the inside to help that glue really stick. Okay, there we go, and that just leaves, well, 6 more. I bet we can get them done. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you can see the 6 remaining tabs. I'm going to fold them like that, tuck them under, and again, using my fingers here to push that wall up against this round piece here on the bottom. And then I'm pushing down with my finger on the inside to get it to really get a grip there. And then again, just focus, spend a little extra time here on the corner on that last tab so that it doesn't come pulling away. Okay, there we go, beautiful. All right, so now you're left with, well, see, look, I knew that was gonna happen because I was impatient. Throw a little extra glue on that last tab, tuck it under, push it, and just hold it. Hold that in place there until it's fully set. So once this is done, we just have to put a top on. We've got a little liner that's going to go inside, and then we're ready to put all of the pieces that we kind of pieced together onto the front, the back, and then we've already got the handle and the top of our little evening bag ready to go. We just have to glue it in place, so we'll be done here in just a few minutes, I think. All right, there we go. Beautiful. All right, so that's all in place now. Now, before we put this little piece on to finish this up, we do have a little liner piece that we're going to glue inside, and that's just going to kind of help sturdy things up a little bit. So, whoa, nice shot. Just throw a little bit of glue onto the inside. Don't go beyond the tabs. You can kind of see how we got that in there. It looks like a mess, but it's fine. And then just get that centered right in the center there and push that down. Okay, that's gonna hide the tabs and also kind of reinforce the bottom a little bit, which leaves this little piece here to kind of connect this all together. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with just one tab here. So choose a tab, doesn't matter which one. Let me get rid of this. Just select a tab. and get that glue right out to the very edge. Again, we've got that one piece, well, the front and the back that are gonna go on, so if you have a little bit of glue shooting out, it's not gonna be the end of the world. All right, so get this on there, get it nice and centered onto that tab. Okay, just like that, and then you can kind of squeeze it between your fingers here. Get it on there. That's pretty good, and then you can definitely put that down on your table and press that down so that it adheres nice and even. And there we go. Okay, and you can see how that's going to look once it's all done. I'm just going to fold that down. So now what we need to do is we need to put glue on the remaining tabs here. And I'm going to fold them in so that when I put my glue on here, I can run my finger across it like that without getting it onto this surface here. And I'm going to need to move a little bit quicker here. The black paper always seems to absorb the glue a lot faster, so you gotta kind of move it here and work quick. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to flare these out just a tad so that when we put this down, it will grab more of that surface area. And I would focus on the other side first, opposite the side that we just glued down, and get that down first. And then just work your way around the perimeter, either clockwise or counterclockwise, to get the rest of this glued down. And that will just kind of keep everything nice and together for us. Okay, so there you go. That glue will dry. I'm not overly concerned about it. If you do have a little area here, which I do, that just didn't stick very well, grab a piece of scrap paper, throw a little bit of glue on it, and just paint a little bit of glue underneath that section there, and press it down and hold it for just an extra second or two while it sets. Okay, so now remember we have two of these pieces, okay, and one of them on this perimeter here has little score marks here. That's going to go on the back. And right now it doesn't matter what's the front or the back. You can designate that whenever you're ready to designate that. So I'm just going to start with, I guess, what we'll call the back here, and we'll get that glued into place. So what we want to do is get our glue onto this piece here. Okay, we'll just throw it right onto the main surface here. And I'm going to go a little heavier on the glue here because we've got those little areas there that have the little tabs, and we want to just make sure that we get good coverage on that. And I am going to kind of spread that out as well, making sure that I don't get any glue on the side or on the top or on the bottom. The side's actually going to be covered up, so if you do get a little bit of glue on there, it's not the end of the world. Just like that. Okay, it's got there's a good thick coat of glue on there, which is good. We need that. All right, so now again, this one's got the little marks up at the top. I want those facing the top. Get that nice and centered. Whoops. And you can see that there's way more glue on this right now. Okay, get it nice and centered, and then just apply nice even pressure all the way around. Kind of run your finger along the perimeter, make sure that everything is matching up nicely, just like that, and just hold it. Try to cover as much of that surface area as you can to get all the sides nice and in place. Okay, and once we take our hands off, we can kind of feel to see if maybe there's some areas that need a little extra love, and we'll take care of those at that time. And that looks pretty darn good, actually. Looks really good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so take a look at the perimeter. That looks pretty good, actually really good. So we can now do the other side. This is going to be our front. So kind of practice with one side. Did a good job there, which means we should do a little bit better on this side. All right, let's get our glue out to the very edges here, going a little heavier on these tabs. Maybe just a little bit there. And then I'm spreading that nice and thin there. Just kind of evening it out. And that also is going to make it nice and tacky so that when I put this piece down, it'll stick nicely for us. Okay. And let's pop that on. Get it nice and centered. And press down. Give it a good pressure all the way around. It is a little difficult sometimes working with black cardstock because it tends to show that gluey sheen, but I think we did a good job. And that looks pretty darn good, actually. Pretty happy with that. Okay, now we've got these little panels here, these little gray panels, and what we're going to do is we're going to glue those around each side. That should match up with the little top part perfectly, actually. So what I would do is I'm going to throw a little bit of glue here. Make sure that you get the glue out to the very edges here, and then just go pretty thin here on this piece. Get it right out to the very edges. Don't make it too gloppy up there. We don't want it squirting out. And then I'm just going to kind of dab this a little bit. Okay. And let's start at the bottom. Get it nice and lined up with the little bottom rectangle, nice and centered as well, so that you have an even border on both sides. And press that down and just kind of wrap it around. Get it nice and taut, and it should match up right at the top perfectly. Okay, and just hold it on both sides like that, and make sure that it is nice and flush against the actual surface of the side, and be patient while that sets. And then we're pretty much there. We got one more piece, and then we can put our top on and call it a day. Not bad. Okay, that looks good. That looks like it's adhered. All right, so let's go to the next side here. Get our glue on here. Make sure you get nice coverage on the very ends here. Okay, and just like we did, start at the bottom, look for that little rectangle that's naturally there, and just butt that up right against that piece. Make sure it's nice and centered, and then just kind of wrap it around, making sure it's nice and flush, and then just hold both sides, both ends until it sets. There we go. Yeah, I think the end result on this is going to look great. Okay, be patient here, especially at the very ends. That's why we get that glue all the way out to the very edge so that it's not lifting up whatsoever in any of those sections. Okay, all right, perfect. So there's that, and now it's time to put the lid on. Okay, and you can see on the back here, we've got the two little marks. So what we're going to want to do is just put our glue on the inside of this, and we're going to glue this right onto that area, keeping the top of this centered. Okay, and take a look at the front here. Make sure it's nice and flush. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's get our glue on just this section here. Now again, this is foil. So I'm going to need to be patient while this really sets, keeping the glue within those little markers. And then also, as we put this down, make sure that we get that nice and centered within those guidelines as well. And then just press and hold that. in place until it's fully set. I'm actually going to pop this down on my surface and just push down from the top like this, just so that I don't nudge it around or move it around too much. Okay, again, I'm gluing, well, cardstock to foil, so I got to be careful and be patient with that. But there you can see, it's pretty much done. We just got to put our magnets on, and I'm going to spend some time putting the little pearls on, just to kind of jazz it up, make it sparkle. Okay, I think it might be ready. I'd say so. All right, so the best way to do this, put your magnets together so that they're together. And on the back of this piece here, let me see if I can show you this. There is there's a little cutout there that shows you where to center the magnet. Okay, so I'm gonna put some hot glue on one side here. Okay, I might have done a little too much there, but that's fine. And that is dry already. I'm so bad with hot glue. All right, I'm gonna peel that off and try it again. I think I need a longer extension cord for my hot glue gun. It's kind of out of the way. But anyway, the point is that we're gonna take and we're going to glue this to the little area on the little flap where it's just kind of a guide to help you get it nice and centered in there. And I can see it there. So that's where that's going, just like that. Okay, and then of course, that's gonna go right on the front, like that. So what we can do is just put a little bit of glue on this guy here. There's no sense in, here I'll show you, it's off camera, but I'll show you here in a second. There's no sense in trying to guess where the other magnet needs to go. There's the other magnet with the hot glue, and I'm just gonna wrap it around and push it down into place where I think it should be. I mean, the bag's closed, so you know that that's where it's gonna go. And that is very nice and hidden, and the little clutch looks great. Okay, and let's see if that will hold yet. Yep, there we go. So there's our magnet there, and listen, oh, there you go, bam. So that's pretty much it for this one. Again, I'm gonna take some time and add some pearls to this to really jazz it up, probably some rhinestones as well. So take a look at the final photo to get an idea of what we did there. And that's really it. So hope you enjoyed the project. If you did, take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And if you make this or any of the little purses or evening bags from our new bundle, we'd love to see them. So take a moment and visit us on the official Dreaming Tree group on Facebook. Just do a search for Dreaming Tree group and join myself and the 10,000 now plus other dreamers that inspire us daily. So thanks for joining me, and I look forward to crafting with you again.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.